If you're beekeepers like we are, or if you're just outside at all during the summer, you probably know too much about the sting of a bee. I got stung yesterday, and when I went to my medicine cabinet to look for my Plantain Salve, I realized I was completely out. So I knew that I better take advantage of a rainy day to make some new salve. So the salve that I'm going to make actually started a couple of weeks ago when I gathered my plantain. So I went around my yard and gathered up a ton of broadleaf plantain. I brought it inside, put it in the bottom of a pint mason jar, and then covered it with extra virgin olive oil. And then I tucked it away for a time such as this, and I let that seep. So today I'm going to strain off my plantain leaves, and going to leave me with a very wonderful medicinal oil that I can use in my salve. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I strain my oil from my plantain. I take a stainless steel melting pot like that. I put it over a bowl, and I'll show you what I'm doing here. Melting pot, a wire mesh, and some cheesecloth. Now, I'm sure there are a million other ways that are better to do this than the way that I'm doing it, but that's just the way I'm doing it today. I'm going to open up my plantain oil. And pour it. You can see it is dark green. Whoops. It is a dark green oil. I want to get all of that plantain leaf out of there. Get every single bit of that plantain oil. I'm going to take my cheesecloth and I'm going to squeeze out the rest of the oil. Okay, that looks like it's got pretty much all of the oil out of it. So, from there, I have left some beautiful dark green oil. Okay, now that I have my oil strained, I need to get my beeswax melted. So I'm using a double boiler here. I'm going to turn on my boiler, and I need to measure out an ounce of beeswax. That's another good thing about being a beekeeper. You always have beeswax. So I'm going to weigh out about an ounce. That little chunk right there is 1.13 ounces. So I'm just going to use that. That's close enough. So I'm going to take this and put it on top of my water that's going to come to a boil, and it will start melting. Okay, while that's coming up to a boil, I wanted to talk to you for just a second about the benefits of broadleaf plantain. It was known for its potent remedy for skin irritations or wound healing. It was used by the Greeks. It was used by Anglo-Saxons and by Native Americans. They recognized the healing properties of plantain leaf. So it has been used for thousands of years. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I can't tell you that this will heal you, but I just can tell you what I'm doing today. I'm making some salve, and I can tell you that it does take the edge off a little bit with bee stings. Okay, so when I measured my oil, I realized I actually have 2 cups of plantain oil. So I figured I better go ahead and make as much as I can right now. So I added another ounce of beeswax to what I'm melting right now. So I'll actually have 2 ounces of beeswax into 2 cups of strained plantain oil. And that should make several salves for me. While my wax continues to melt, I'm going to tell you about some of the essential oils that I'm going to add to my salve also. I'm going to be adding peppermint salve, and that has a cooling sensation, and it really helps with the sting. It kind of takes the burn and the itch out of the sting. So I'll put a few drops of that. I also am going to add some lavender. Lavender is also very calming, and it's anti-inflammatory. It's very soothing. And I'm also putting tea tree oil, a couple of drops of that. It is a natural antiseptic, and it helps with the redness and stinging also. Okay, so I'm going to add probably 3 drops of peppermint. 4 drops of tea tree oil, and 4 drops, well, about 5 drops of lavender. And that will just mix into my oil. All right, so my beeswax is all melted, and I'm going to turn that off. Now all I need to do is pour my beeswax into my essential oils. You can see it solidifies pretty quickly. I usually put it back on my boiler just to melt it all together. And I stir it at this point. So you saw that when I first put the oil and the wax together, it solidified just a bit. So what I did was I moved it back over to my double boiler, and I turned it back on, and I'm just going to melt it all together until it comes back up to just an oil or just a complete liquid. Okay, now that my oil and wax have melted back together, you can see it's all a liquid form. I will pour my hot liquid into some little metal tins, and they will begin to solidify to make my salve. Okay, got out more than I needed, but that is okay. All right, so I'll just let these sit until they become a solid, and I'll show you what they look like when they're done. So it's been a couple of hours, and I came back out to see that my salve has set up just fine. I've been taking some samples of it. I definitely want to get this put on my sting from yesterday. So I hope the next time that you see some plantain growing in your yard, you're going to think about this recipe for making your own very easy, simple plantain salve. Once again, we want to thank you for stopping by Curvy Creek Farm, where you're always going to find simple living in a busy world.